As I'm sure many of you still painfully remember, last November, Six Flags executives made a very consumer-friendly decision and closed down Kingda Ka at Six Flags Great Adventure with no sort of public notice whatsoever. The ride was only North America's fastest roller coaster, as well as the world's tallest roller coaster, so it's really not a big deal, right? Just to close it without saying anything? No. But anyway, 4 days later, after Kingda Ka launched its last public train, which was on November 10th, Six Flags Great Adventure announced that Kingda Ka would officially be closing, along with a long list of other rides. It was at this point that we were really starting to see the effects of the merger between Six Flags and Cedar Fair. And from everything that I've gathered so far, it seems that the plan is to invest not only heavily but aggressively in Six Flags Great Adventure. We recently saw an announcement that Six Flags plans to double the attendance at Six Flags Magic Mountain. And from everything else they've said, like at their recent Investor Day, they are really trying to level up several of the legacy Six Flags parks, specifically the larger parks like Great Adventure. And from everything I've heard on the inside, Great Adventure could be receiving the most amount of investment of all of the Six Flags parks. So alongside the announcement of the closure of Kingda Ka, Six Flags Great Adventure also announced that in 2026, they would be opening another multi-record breaking launch coaster, a ride that would occupy the location of Kingda Ka and Green Lantern, and likely be the Kingda Ka replacement. The company would go on to demolish Kingda Ka, and on February 28, 2025, the 456-foot tall top hat was imploded. Going forward, the neighboring Green Lantern as well as Kingda Ka were fully demolished, and both plot of lands were completely cleared to make way for whatever attraction would replace them, which of course is the supposed 2026 multi-record breaking launch coaster. However, ever since that work took place, it's been pretty quiet at that job site. There isn't much activity at all, and it's got a lot of rumors started. For the past couple of months, both on and off the internet, I've been hearing rumors that the 2026 coaster is either delayed or even cancelled. After all, in 2026, Six Flags Over Texas is also set to receive another record-breaking coaster, a 300-foot tall B&M dive coaster, and track and support pieces are even arriving on site. Six Flags Over Texas has even began teasing the new roller coaster, whereas at Great Adventure, it's been pretty quiet, at least in terms of the upcoming new roller coaster, but shouts out to the Flash Vertical Velocity, which I think is a fantastic roller coaster, besides the fact that it only runs one train. But man, the ride could not have opened at a worse time, because it does look like it's supposed to be the Kingda Ka replacement when it's not at all. Now, I've heard a bit of an update about Great Adventure's upcoming new roller coaster, and I'm happy to say that as of this current moment, the ride is absolutely not cancelled. There is still very much work going on to make sure that roller coaster is built, but due to certain factors, like a certain T word that rhymes with the word sheriff, the new roller coaster may not open by the originally targeted deadline. As to when that later date could be, and if that becomes true, I cannot say for certain whether that will be later in 2026 or even as late as 2027. But the good news is that this upcoming multi-record breaking launch coaster is not cancelled. Although depending on where your opinion falls into the bunch, that may be good news or bad news. As from everything I've heard, the ride is basically exactly what you think it is. And if you're a roller coaster enthusiast, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Something you have to consider with the B&M going to Six Flags Over Texas and whatever this new roller coaster is coming to Great Adventure is that the B&M was manufactured here in the United States, up in Ohio. So there is no issue related to that T word I mentioned earlier. Whereas with Great Adventure's new coaster, it is not being manufactured here in the United States. So that'll be a little bit of an interesting thing to tackle, but it does not mean the ride will not be built. It may just affect when the ride is built. But keep your eyes peeled as you may start seeing some more action on the job site sometime this summer. And this is kind of what connects with the timetable as to why Kingda Ka was suddenly closed and then dismantled so quickly. Now, I'm not here to excuse the way in which the ride was closed, as I will say it for the rest of my life that there should have been some sort of public announcement prior to the ride's closure. From what I understand, Great Adventure fought to reopen the ride in 2025, where they would have given official public notice that the ride was closing, but would have given a few months for guests to get their last rides. And then in late May or early June, the ride would have then closed so it could be demolished in time to make way for the 2026 coaster. But corporate executives did not want to go with this plan, as Kingda Ka is not a cheap ride to maintain, which is of course one of the major reasons why the ride was closed in the first place. Apparently for the the ride to just undergo its annual refurbishment and reopen in 2025, which may have also involved a little bit of repair work that was required with Zumanjaro in order to reopen Kingda Ka, was a staggering $1 million, which is absolutely absurd for an attraction at a regional theme park. So corporate did not think that price tag was worth it to reopen Kingda Ka for just a few months in 2025, hence why Kingda Ka closed in November of 2024. And apparently Kingda Ka would have actually ran until the very end of the 2024 season. But some sort of issue with Zumanjaro meant that the state of New Jersey actually forced Kingda Ka to close until those repairs were made. But that's what leads into what could still be the 2026 new multi-record breaking launch coaster. Construction of this coaster should be starting soon, so let's keep our fingers crossed that that still happens on time, and also that the replacement coaster is somewhat good. I know the ride won't be the same as Top Thrill 2, but I know that myself and many other people were not very excited when Top Thrill 2 was announced, as we did not think it was a worthy replacement of Top Thrill Dragster. Then a lot of us rode Top Thrill 2, and now a good amount of people even like it more than Top Thrill Dragster. I'm still blown away by my rides on Top Thrill 2 earlier this May, so I've got a little hope that maybe this Kingda Ka replacement will be something good. But I'm definitely going to reserve most of my hope, because if the new ride is what we think it is, I'm not really sold yet on the concept. We also have to hope that the Six Flags company still has enough employees to keep it going, as the recent layoffs have seemed pretty absurd. My heart goes out to all of you who were suddenly laid off, as a lot of you guys were people who were dedicated to your parks, who have worked there for decades, or even if you were there for just a short time, you were also dedicated to making your park the best it could have possibly been. But I cannot understate that I am very concerned for the skeleton crew that is left to do the job that honestly requires a lot of people to do. I recently learned that there's a PR manager who's in charge of Six Flags New England and King's Dominion. Without any traffic, the two parks are 7 hours apart, but they're both basically along the I-95 Northeast corridor, which means there's absolutely traffic going between the two parks. So yeah, I just can't put my mind behind how something like that works, and who knows what other insanity is going on right now with the responsibilities of the skeleton crew. This just screams that it's unsustainable and that the company has lost all sense of how to operate, or what makes sense for it to function. So that's definitely something I'm concerned about, but I at least hope that the combined company is able to manage its massive debt and deliver on the promised improvements to many of the legacy Six Flags parks without selling off too many of their other parks. I'm definitely very sad about Six Flags America, and I'll be trying to visit that park as much as I can this year. But anyway, that will do it for this video. The key takeaway is that the multi-record breaking launch coaster coming to Six Flags Great Adventure is not cancelled as of this current moment, and that we should hopefully see construction work starting sometime later this summer. As to when the ride will open, I can't say for certain, but it does still seem like 2026 is the goal. I know this video is another one of those trust me bro moments, but I think out of all my trust me bro videos, I have a pretty decent track record. It's not perfect, but I think it's pretty good. So hopefully this video somewhat lowered your anxiety, or maybe it just raised it if you really don't like the concept of the new coaster. Anyway guys, be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below what you think of this whole situation. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace.